Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at Mighty K, my BFF Jill730. I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations. As always, you've made your way to the Buffington Post. So today I'll be reviewing Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 10, issue number 23. It's In Pieces on the Ground, Part 3. Yeah, we got two pretty good covers here. I really like both of these covers that we've got going on. And I have to say, this cover really threw me for a loop. I did not get what I expected out of this issue, which is a good thing. So previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
all through Season 10, the new rules of magic have been making a lot of weird changes for everyone involved. We've been making really unlikely alliances with D'Hoffryn and his magical council that we met in Season 9. We've also got the military all involved in the supernatural, and not in a super creepy initiative-y kind of way, but just normal, going about helping us with the slaying of demons and stuff, so okay. Earlier in the season, we had Andrew, who went to Craterdale to try and do some hocus-pocus with the new magic rulebook, and he actually excavated this approximation of Jonathan's personality in a digital format. Right, so we kind of left the whole resurrecting Jonathan thing hanging back in issue number 13. Now, these three demon lords, the Sculptor, the Calamari Glutton, and the Siren Mistress, have control over this Restless Door portal majigger, which is not good because we just made everything safer for everybody, and now they're using this portal majigger to open up rifts in reality all over the place, and they're just creating hell on earth, and it's got everybody really busy. On top of being busy with all the slaying, we've also got Willow, who just kind of made a new girlfriend, and this Lake character who works for the military, and we've also got, of course, Buffy and Spike, who are all together now, and we've also got Kid Giles in the mix, not really feeling like he belongs anywhere. Ghost Anya's out there doing something, and we've also got Dawn trying to figure out who she is now that she's her new self.
it's pretty much what you need to know. So without further ado, let's jump into Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 10, issue number 23. It's In Pieces on the Ground, Part 3. Here we go.
The moon float like a balloon. You see, it's never too late and it's never too soon. Take it from me, it's alright to be. It live in color. And how would you feel knowing prejudice was obsolete and all mankind danced to the exact beat? And at night it was safe to walk down the street. It live in color. It live in color. Live in color. Everybody here is equally kind. Everybody here is equally kind. Everybody here is equally kind. And live in color. What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. And live in color.
So this issue opens up in Andrew's home, where he is talking to this digital Jonathan, who is complaining about the fact that Andrew has not made him a body yet, right? But the bickering is interrupted when one of the sculpture guys comes in to make Andrew an offer he can't refuse. So the sculptor says, hey, my whole thing is animating dead flesh, and so I can put this digital personality of Jonathan's into a fleshy Jonathan, right? And all you've got to do is give me the Slayer Scythe. So then we pick up with Buffy, who is with the Magical Council fighting this Kraken off. So Buffy, Willow, the military, and the whole Magical Council are all trying to take care of this Kraken, but they can't just slay it. They need to send it back to its homeworld because it's like a vital part of the ecosystem there, and they can't just teleport it there because, hello, it's really hard to open portals now that we've made it really hard to open portals. Buffy almost gets eaten by the Kraken, and she's just not thrilled with this whole working with D'Hoffryn and working with the military and people trying to give her orders, and Willow's like, okay, this is all great, I get where your frustration is coming from, but we need to stop fighting amongst ourselves and keep fighting the demons at hand. So earlier in the season, D'Hoffryn had wanted Buffy to write in the New Rule Magic book that the council would have some like superpowers to give them a little bit more sway over what's going on. And basically, he's saying, you're acting stupid not giving us these executive powers in order to make things easier for everyone involved. Buffy's not thrilled with this idea. She doesn't want to just give some executive powers to, D'Hoffryn, hello. But, D'Hoffryn's not the only one on the Magical Council. It's made up of people from all walks of magic, like one of them is the Queen of the Damn Fairies. So Buffy doesn't want to just go willy-nilly writing these rules. She wants to talk it over with Giles, and so they all go to her apartment where Dawn is now studying with some classmates of hers, and we find out that she's really serious about her psychology class because she's actually thinking about becoming a grief counselor. So in pop Buffy, Spike, and the whole magical council and scare the shit out of Dawn's friends. Buffy apologizes. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is really important. We'll go to Giles' apartment. You stay here because what you're doing is super important." So back at Andrew's apartment, he is refusing the sculptor and saying, "I don't just go betraying my friends." And Jonathan says, "Hey, you literally stabbed me in the back." And the sculptor provides Andrew with this fake scythe in order to replace Buffy's with this fake one that has like magic on it, so she won't even notice it's missing.
And basically, the reason that they want to give Buffy this fake scythe with the enchantment on it is so that it will break during battle, and thus kind of bringing down Buffy's confidence in her power and herself and the whole structure that she's built around being the Slayer.
So back with Buffy and Giles, Giles is going over the fine print of these new rules that they're going to put in the book, which will give kind of superpowers to the different members of the Magical Council, but only if they are members of the Magical Council. If a majority of them believe that one of them is abusing said power, then they will be removed from the council and not have access to this awesome power that they were granted by the new rules, right? So the Queen of the Fairies is like, "Hey Giles, I can tell that you're an old soul in this young body, and that's what it's all about in my realm, so if you want to come play in the Land of the Fairies, you're totally welcome to join us." Buffy's not really sure about how safe it is for Giles to just go running willy-nilly into this fairy world, but he says, "I'm gonna go, here I go, holla." So now that the Magical Council has been granted all of this power, it's going to be way easier for them to do the slaying and be in more than one place at once. You won't have to have all of these folks trying to take out one Kraken, and so they've got some downtime, and, that's a good thing, right? So Buffy's really wrestling with this decision that she's made. She feels like she's basically kind of sold out. She feels like maybe it wasn't the right thing to do. Maybe she just did this to make her own life easier, and she feels like she may have just ruined everything. So the next morning, Spike and Buffy, since, their problems are a lot more simplified now, Spike suggests that they take the day off, and Buffy says, "Oh yeah, I've been wanting to go to this great Italian restaurant I've been hearing about," and she then realizes that Spike doesn't eat, and she doesn't want him to just, sit across from her and drink, and so she says, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go for a run, and we will decide what we can do later. It's just been so long since I've actually been in the sun." And we get this moment of Spike realizing that, their problems are gone, and now that he and Buffy have this downtime, he can't go and share that with her. So Buffy runs into Dawn, and she talks about how she and Willow are still, they're not fighting anymore, but it's still kind of frictiony with all the different priorities that they've got, and work stuff, and Miss Lake. But Dawn's like, "Yeah, it's a little weird, but isn't it always a little weird? You guys are fine, everything's gonna be okay," and she has to go, and Buffy decides to go out on her run, while Andrew goes into her apartment to swap out the scythes. So as Buffy's out on her run, she is seeing the, world around her in the sunlight. Like, that's where Buffy lives, and she sees this gay couple with a baby, and she sees this elderly couple, and she is thinking about back in season 9 when she was in her robot body thinking she was pregnant, about how Spike wanted a normal life with her. And we see on her face that she's realizing, like, kids and growing old together, those are normal things, and she can't have that with Spike. So then we pick up with Andrew, who is, swapping out the scythes, and he's feeling pretty bad about it. And later on in the cemetery, he presents the scythe to the sculptor demon, but hello, he totally faked out the sculptor demon because everybody shows up and they start hacking away at the sculptor. Jonathan is pissed because the sculptor is keeping him animated, right? The sculptor put Jonathan's digital self into this Jonathan flesh body, and Jonathan's like, "Really? I'm not going to exist if you kill this guy, fuck you." So Willow does some hocus pocus to the scythe, and Buffy is able to use it to split the sculptor demon down the middle, yay. And Andrew isn't feeling great about sort of betraying Jonathan, but he realizes that that's not the real Jonathan. It's his memories and a kind of amalgamation of his personality, but it's not really him. And the fact of the matter is, he just is going to stop, trying to do these great big grand gestures to try and fix things which normally, end up creating more chaos, and he's finally, proving that he's a genuine Scooby who doesn't fuck everything up all the time. And that's where we end the issue. So, as I said when I started, this issue really didn't give me what I was expecting, and I really appreciate that. This whole issue is kind of about, selling out, taking the easy way out, and looking at what's around you after you do that. We've got Buffy, and she's really struggling with this decision, should she be giving these demons and magical folks all this crazy power? And, she thinks that that's what she's wrestling with, but really what she's wrestling with is, now that life is easier and she's looking around at what her life really consists of, we're seeing that now that she and Spike aren't fighting all the time, they have to kind of live together. And the thing about Buffy is she has a life, and she's alive, and Spike has an unlife, and he's not alive. And so the very simple things like going out to eat, going out for a run, just being in the sunlight, we're seeing that these things aren't easy, even though Buffy has made her magical problems easier. And so I really do like that. We get this moment where Buffy, she has to take her cross necklace off to go to bed because Spike is in her bed. That's something really simple, but it's also a really big thing for Buffy. She has to constantly live in these two different worlds, and Spike isn't really helping that. And again, we see Spike. He knows that he can't go in the sun and spend the day with Buffy. Their day off, they can't really spend together. Buffy can live in Spike's world all day long, but he can't even step into hers. And so this is something, we've been talking about it all season, the inevitability of the demise of Buffy, and they've done such a good job making it really work for these characters that it's really sad to see them coming to these realizations. Buffy's not going to get to grow old with Spike. She's not going to have kids with Spike. This normal that she wants is just not available to her if Spike is in the picture. Dawn, I like the idea that she would be thinking about being a grief counselor. It makes a lot of sense. She's done her fair share of grieving, and so I like that. She can kind of draw from her own experience and kind of help people with that, and so that makes a lot of sense. We've got Andrew, who was, again, going to take the easy way out, but we've had Andrew take the easy way out way too many times, and it's done nothing but cause problems, and so I really appreciate this issue taking Andrew's power back. Good for you, Andrew. I'm glad you didn't betray Buffy again. And it wasn't what I was expecting because, obviously, we've got the covers that have been released, and in the 24 cover, Andrew is on the side of the Sculptor and the Calamari Glutton and the Siren Mistress, but we just killed the Sculptor, so that's one Demon Lord down, yay. And I was thinking that maybe this is where the Scythe kind of gets lost for 200 years. I was really expecting that out of this issue, and so, again, it wasn't what I expected, and I appreciate that. There's absolutely no Xander here, but we do also have Giles taking the easy way out. He's more willing to go and play with people like himself, these old people in seemingly super youthful bodies, and he's not really dealing with what he is. He is, for all intents and purposes, a child, and he's still really not accepting that, and I think that his trip into Fairyland won't last long, and I think he's going to finally accept his youth, and yeah, everybody's just kind of taking the easy way out here. Buffy, she's like, okay, well, here I go, I'm just gonna write these rules so that, the responsibility won't fall solely on me. And then we've got Giles who's like, oh, well, I don't really like doing this, so I'm gonna go and try and be myself and be judged just by the content of my character. And then we've got Andrew, who finally doesn't take the easy way out. It looks like he's going to, but he decides against it. And so I really like this issue. It's got some really good stuff in it, and it's really, really all coming to a head. All of Season 10 has been about these new rules and these weird alliances, and everything has just been kind of leading up to something big, and I don't think that Buffy made the right decision in giving the Magical Council these different things, but at the same time, this is going to allow for her to have the most normal life she's ever really had. She's Buffy, and she's a vampire slayer, and now that everybody knows about that, and now that we've got the government and this Magical Council, Buffy can finally get back to trying to have a normal life. But again, if Spike is in the picture, that's never going to be the case. So relationship issues abound and personal trauma abounds, and this is a really good issue, so I would highly recommend it. Both the covers are really great. We got Andrew reaching out for the Scythe here, and then we've got the Scooby team up on this side, so it's really nice. But that's pretty much all I've got for today, you guys, so let me know what you thought of this issue down in the comment section below. Hope you're having a great 2016 so far, everybody. I'm Preston L. Young. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime for Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, and some other stuff. I said that I was going to be doing my Buffy birthday video the other day, but I've been ill this week, and so I will be getting into that today, hopefully. So stay tuned for Buffy's belated birthday video. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.